Make it work it out. Turn the volume up loud. This a draw crowd. Make it all shout. Go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Hit play on the track and I'm ready. Like a quarterback. Tom Brady. Get you all in the frenzy. Go crazy. Go crazy. Go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go crazy. Go crazy. Go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go crazy. Go crazy. Go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go crazy. Go crazy. All the way from the O to
Hey, everybody. What's going on this beautiful full, this beautiful Tuesday? I promise I won't be that corny. I'll show y'all, but it is cold as hell here in Oklahoma City, okay? So it only felt fitting, considering my toes have just recently gotten to a toasty state, for me to go ahead and mention the temperatures that we've got going out here in these Oklahoma City streets. It's cold, so bundle up if you have to get outside. I'm not going outside, so I'm Gucci. But for y'all going outside, bundle up, okay? But welcome to another Scoop Show, you guys. We have got a really good show topic for you. If you haven't had a chance to catch our little promo video from earlier today. So the second half of the show is going to be amazing. The front half is also going to be great, but like the second half, I'm super excited about. So please go ahead, get in here, get in comfortable. Please drop your city and state in that comment section. Come on in this room, as Auntie Tab says, and drop your city and state. Say what's up to everybody. And while you are marinating down there in that comment section, hit that good old share button so your main line knows where you will be chilling here for the next few minutes. You know, we ain't gonna hold you too long, but we're gonna keep you for a few so we can have this good conversation on this evening. Let's see. Drop your name, drop your comments for your city and your state. Hit the share button. We also invite you to follow us out here on these internets, in these streets. If you would please get locked in on all of our social media sites. We are on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And we can go ahead and get you them handles. You can follow us on YouTube at The Scoop Show, on Facebook at Real Scoop Show, and you can follow us on Instagram at Scoop Radio Show. We post all kinds of conversations. We've got all kinds of good memes and topics going in all of the places. So please make sure you are hitting the bells and the thumbs and all of the things so that you never miss a show. Okay? We got that replay for you. If you're not able to sit here with us in real time, we can catch you on your time. Okay. So be sure that you are locked in wherever you feel the most comfy out here in these streets. Okay. I think that handles all of the business. Bro, how are you?
I'm good. Glad to be here. Yeah, we got some good stuff to talk about today, so I'm pretty excited. So a lot of inbox questions this week. So
yeah, your inbox has been litty. I noticed that. I was like,
absolutely. Okay. So y'all, for real, if you have as you see, if you have relationship questions or money questions or questions that you want us to ask our community, for real, drop them in my inbox. And I will anonymously post them as I have this week, and we can get some feedback. So you can put them either in mine. Put them in mine or on you can put them in queues with, or you can put them on the Scoop inbox in one of us.
I'm mad you paused when you say you can send them to me. Is that why they're not sending me messages with it? Because you're telling the people not to send me messages.
I'm not telling them nothing. I'm just saying.
Y'all can inbox me your questions. I'll be just as anonymous and balanced as well. I don't like that. We got to talk about that hesitation that you had
I'm
and
just,
offering me up my inbox. Like, I don't
listen,
know.
sis. I'm just saying, you know,
My inbox is a safe place. Okay,
it
it's a
is.
lot of
Oh yeah,
safe place.
I'm just listen. I think it's very safe. I just don't want somebody to come in there and sometimes you take days off.
I do.
So
But I'm sweet when I take a day off because you don't know that. They don't know that. Don't come in here with no foolishness though. Like
no, I'm not saying you're
you
gonna be.
better
I'm just
come with an
saying,
inbox question now. Don't be in my inbox with no foolishness.
I don't do that. Because if you come in mine with foolishness, you might get a God bless you. You come in hers.
That ain't what you want. Don't do that. Don't do that. Not with no foolishness. You come in peace. I come with all the peace and all the good vibes and energy and what you need, sugar. You will get all of that cue, okay?
Absolutely.
But yeah, don't come with no foolishness because I got something for that too. I got something for that too. But yes, please. Back to my original. You can send me your questions. It is a safe place. Thank you, sis. See, my sister's back today. Hey, boo, I can see you today. I see the comments. Yes, yes.
I got your back. Yes, absolutely. Got your back. I ain't gonna let nobody talk crazy to her, but
No,
I'm just saying before it even gets to, I just want to make sure, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, I'm going on the record that I noticed that hesitation, and I don't know how I feel about that.
What's up, Danielle?
Yes, 22222.
What's up, Shanae? Shanae, how you doing? All right, you ready?
On in here, family.
Okay, how
Yes.
you doing? First of all, how you doing?
I am well. I will say Microsoft Project kicked my tail today. I'm learning this new application, and yeah, but I learned a lot, and tomorrow's a new day. But other than that, I'm in a good mood, and today has been a really good day. Yeah. And it's back to my roots week, y'all. Right. Sunday is going down. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is going down. But that runway, honey, is woo flaming. Come Sunday evening. On Sunday, ice is gonna melt. It's gonna be so fire in there. Like, I'm so excited. I am so excited for Sunday. Hence the throwback Thursday, the throwback to the picture. Fly. Back to my roots fashion show a couple years ago. Hey Damon, what's going on, bro? So yeah, I'm good.
Good. All right, you ready to jump into these? We got some y'all fellas. Don't leave me.
Don't leave me out here today.
Don't leave me, fellas. Don't leave me out here. All right, let's go ahead and get into these hot topics tonight. Let's start here. So, University of Michigan basketball coach Juwan Howard actually was announced today was suspended for five games. So, University of Michigan coach Juwan Howard, former member of the Fab Five, gets into an altercation with the coach of the University of Wisconsin after a game, and the other coach put his hand on him. Juwan told him, "Don't put your hand on me." Had a few choice words, swung on him. So it was announced today again. He got a 5-game suspension. Have you seen the video? Did you see it? Oh, it was.
So let me make sure I'm tracking because I haven't seen the video. So this is a fan?
No, this is the coach.
I know the coach is the one who got suspended, but he told who to not put his hands on him?
The other opposing team's coach.
Oh, so these are two coaches. I missed that. Okay. So he said, "Don't put your hands on me." The other coach didn't.
Let me back up. So what happens is,
give it to me in the hood way. Like,
so,
give me the
game is ending. At the end of the game, the Wisconsin coach pulls he calls a timeout towards the end of the game. Juwan Howard, they were already winning. Juwan Howard didn't like it, so he says something to him, and they talking trash. So as they, you cross the shake hands, the coach kind of like grabs him and like puts his hand on him, and Howard, swipes his hand off. "Don't put your hands on me," and they start talking. Howard backs up.
Oh, so he hit him first?
Yeah.
2 hours of really intense competition. Occasionally, this stuff. I don't want to say it shouldn't be inevitable, but it is.
Sorry.
Like we just get a scene
I'm trying to find the video of the fight so you can see it.
I don't know. I'm thinking because I got my street hat and then I got my professional hat on, and I wonder. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like I want to. I don't know. At that level, I don't know if you're gonna let words be the reason. If he didn't put his hands on him again after he told him to get your hands off, you having exchange of words is one thing, but for you to initiate that contact, I don't know if that was I don't know if that's warranted. I don't know if I can get behind that.
All right, hold on 1 second. Okay. Let's. All right.
After 2 hours of really intense competition, occasionally this stuff. I don't want to say it shouldn't be inevitable, but it is. Like we just get a scene like this every so often. Cross college basketball. A lot of times this will actually happen. Tommy, at the lower levels on a game that's not on national television, so you don't really see it. But something like this happens. 5,000 games in a season. It's rare, but it happens. And doesn't mean there's any excuse for it. There clearly isn't. I mean, look at this.
Ooh, that was already intense for all those people to be there and doing all that, and then for you to throw a punch over the top of that like that. I don't know. I don't know if I would have really got behind that because you got all those people separating you from him in the first place. For you to have to tippy toe it to get whatever that was off towards him. I mean, yeah, bro, you can't be the coach doing that. If we're going to suspend players for losing their head, you cannot, as the coach, that be okay. After we've already played the game, we're done, and all of this commotion is already going on. I understand how it could escalate. Like, I'm not taking anything away from the emotion that was probably there or anything like that. But at the end of the day, y'all still had that situation happen and you were the initiator of said situation. So there's still a consequence to be had for that. I mean, am I missing something? Is there some rule in sports that I'm missing? Or because just looking at it, I'm like, it sucks kind of, but like you also don't tippy toe it across 5 people, 5 grown ass men to get a punch off because this man touched your shoulder. Like, you mad, bro? Like, he's big mad.
So he was mad. I don't know what he said. So people ask like what he said. I don't know what he said, and I haven't read where either of them have said what he said. But from my understanding, it was a discussion about about what previously happened, which was they were already up by like 10 points. Wisconsin was already up. They had put in some of their reserves. It was 25 seconds left on the clock, and the coach called a timeout to try to, and so that's kind of like a thing you don't do. But
that's why I said share your words, exchange your words, be mad. Like, I'm not taking nothing away from you being irritated at the fact that you drawn out my ass whooping, but like, I mean, because that's what it is. You mad because you lose it, and like, let's get it over with already. Like, okay, cool. Like, I get that. But you can't be hitting me because you feel mad that I called a timeout that I had to call. I mean, that it was my timeout to call. He didn't.
I mean, he could have got mad. There was up until the punch. Yeah. Nothing was, like I said, it was nothing inappropriate. I have no problem with, like I said, I have no problem with with Juwan being mad. I have no problem with him calling him a name for calling the timeout. I have no problem for you telling him, don't put your hands on me. I have no problem with none of that. I just don't, you just can't hit him. Like, so, I mean, he got a 5-game suspension, which is the rest of the regular season. He got a $40,000 fine. The Wisconsin coach got a $10,000 fine. And yeah.
And next.
Yeah, I have to on this one. Yeah, I just think he didn't get fired, which everybody, of course, wanted to be like, fire him. No, we're not firing him over that.
No.
We have to fire him over that. So it was what it was.
Yeah.
I bet I'm not being funny. I bet you he'll think twice about calling the timeout with 25 seconds again, though. So
yeah, that wasn't worth it. That wasn't worth all that rah-rah that happened, bro. Just in the game, like,
yeah,
that wasn't necessary.
Yeah, it was not. It was not. And again, a lot, like you said, a lot of it is really just the position. I mean, you're a leader. You
Yeah.
can't do that. I got it.
Hmm.
Slap on the wrist.
Essentially, like, I mean, were they going to the? They, I mean, never
They're
mind.
going to it anyway, so it's not like they're not going to the tournament or something. So here we go. Let's go. First inbox question. Why does my partner not wanting to have sex as often bother me so much? I have talked to them. So this was I went back, of course, and had to ask some clarifying questions like, well, have y'all talked? Have y'all, so and they said I've talked to them, and they say it's not a matter of attraction. They say they're not cheating. They did also, I didn't put this in there. They said it's not a medical thing. They're just not interested any longer in having sex as often. So the question was, what should I do?
So, did they happen to share what often used to be?
I didn't get specific numbers, but let's just say it's like more than 50% less. So from the information I got, it would be like going from like 3 times a week to like once every other week type thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and there's no medical issue. They're not cheating. They are still attracted to them, so they do still when they want to have sex, it's still with them. They just don't desire sex that much.
Yep.
What should they do? Okay. They need to have a conversation. Identify, is that going to be enough for them? Like, is that okay with you? Are there other addiction? I mean, not addiction. Damn it, Shanae. I read your Are there other things that they can do as far as intimacy that would help still create that closeness? Is it that you just is the first person who's asking the question, is it they just miss having sex? Like, I don't know. They need to discuss what intimacy is going to look like for them going forward. Because it was interesting to me watching the comments on this, how everyone assumed that like there was an ailment, that like there was something that had happened or was wrong.
Yes.
Or, they were broken in some kind of way because it wasn't that there was no sex happening, just not as often. And I thought that was interesting.
3 times a week to once every other week is a big swing.
Yeah, but it depends on what are they doing in the meantime. Like, has this person began doing some other things that are like tuning in big time? Like, are they shifting, knowing that there's a difference there, trying to do other things? But you don't want anyone to be forced into physical interactions. True. Hugs, kisses, sex, whatever. You know what I mean? So you can't force it simply because it's not in the amount that you want it to. If it's really good sex, like once every, you know what I mean? If it's really good sex and every other time y'all are clicking and doing all the other things and everything is cool. Yes, that's an adjustment. But you also have to think about, is this something I'm willing to do? I'm not saying you should have to. I'm saying this could very much be a deal breaker for some people. Hey, I signed up for 3 times a week minimum. Like, that's what we was doing. We've been doing, and all of a sudden we got something else going on. Like, what's really good? You know what I mean? Because for some people, it is huge. And that is a huge part of how they love, how they receive love, how they, they just like sex. It might not even be that deep. I like to have sex, and that's one of the reasons why I got one person to have sex with. Okay, so like I get that.
Amen.
But I don't think that there has to obviously be something wrong with the person because because they don't want to do it as much as they used to. Like I don't see that. People
I don't. Okay, so let me say I agree that it doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong, but for a shift like that, for there not to be the something is going on, some kind of huge life change or adjustment or something like that, then I actually think it's normal for this time. Like the person I told, I was like, first of all, you being bothered is probably is an accurate feeling. Like, they haven't communicated that they no longer want, like they haven't communicated anything, any change, any, you know what I mean? Like they're not, are they starting, is this person going through some type of hormonal change? Like, we know People do. Have they gained weight? Have they, like I'm trying to really diagnose what could potentially be happening. But I think, he's like, why is a man? Let me just say, I personally didn't put male, female in certain,
Yeah.
but it was a man saying this about his wife. But I said this, it's absolutely normal. So why does it bother you so much? Because the a primary way that you find that you connect with your wife is through this method. And so now that you find this method not working or being there as often, you're feeling, on a level almost insecure. Like, what is this? What's happening? What's going on? What's wrong? Is there something wrong with our relationship? Is there something? So that's absolutely normal, appropriate, right? And then I even told him, like, to have the conversation that you're having, because he walked me through the conversation. The conversation was even right. It was very loving. It was very, hey.
Did he ask about, are you happy with what I'm doing? And
Yeah,
like,
all of that.
are
And
we
it was
doing
like,
the right things and all of that?
it was like, hey, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just not interested as often. Like, that was legit. And I'm like, well, if that's all, now that you know that, and you believe that, believe her, the only thing you really can do is, to your point, is to find, like, is this a deal breaker for you? And if it is, did you communicate that to her? To which he hadn't. I said that you need to communicate that this is something that is vitally important. You also need to find out, to your point, are there other ways are there other ways that you can increase intimacy that might make her be in the mood a little more? He's like, okay. I'm like, because again, if you've got children and household stuff to do, all of that. But yeah, so we went through all of that. But I was like, dude, you're perfectly in the right to feel the way you feel. Y'all just have to work through it in a way that works for both of you, because this could be permanent. This could be
a peak. It could be one of those.
This could be, this could be. I did tell him about. I was like, I told him, I said he should give us some pills too. I ain't gonna lie to you. I did say that. I was like, you should give us some, like, try this herb that I heard about, and that
I heard it's this honey out here in these streets that is worth looking into. Okay,
help a libido. And he was like, okay. So yeah, so I don't think there was anything wrong with that, and I actually thought it was I told him I was very impressed that he actually went through all the things he went through without jumping to,
Yeah. And I like that, they were able to have the and she answered, because the fact that he was having this conversation didn't lead me to believe that she was defensive when he asked her these questions. And the fact that she just or unless you know more than I do, as far as, because you covered, is she cheating? Are you attracted? Do you like what we're doing? Those types of things. And she just flat out said, it's not you. It's just, I don't, and not necessarily that it's me, like there's something wrong. It's just, I just don't want it as much. But she also needs to, I would hope that she would be receptive to what he's saying as far as the weight that it carries in their marriage, as opposed to just him missing the fact that they don't have a number amount happening. It's not about the fact that it went from 3 to 1 every 2 weeks. It's not about that. I would hope that he would connect, or that you would share with him to make the connection, that it is about the connection, not just.
Well, yeah, but I think, I mean, I don't think that. I think he got that. But I do think that it was important for her to also recognize the value of this type of connection for him. Like, I told him, I get, I agree that, that a lot of ladies are, like Shanae is saying, like, there's, the mental stimulus, there are other forms of intimacy, but I'm like, if that's what we need, that's cool. We could do more of those things. However, let's not forget that there is still a need on the other side that needs
very basic sometimes, like just that don't need all the frills and all of that. Let's just
yeah. So he said, take her out from French. Get a blue rhino, huh?
Have me at mimosas. I heard them gas station pills give you headaches sometimes. Well, they don't do us the same way they do y'all.
I've never used one, so I don't know. Anyway, selfish, call it selfish. A lot of ladies are sexually selfish. Some are.
Some are.
Yep, I would.
I won't just call her selfish though without knowing why, more of her why. I
You
won't just
can
call
be.
it selfish. Because to me, selfish, to just call it selfish would mean we want her to just do it just because. Just because he wants it now, she's supposed to do it. And the fact that it dismisses the fact that there could be something there that has real meaning other than just saying flat out she's selfish. That's saying she's just sitting there on it saying, no, you can't have it because just because I don't want you to have it.
Yeah,
That would seem more selfish to me than this is just something that I'm not as she's not depriving him of sex, period, which we've talked about. And that
true.
to me, I feel is more on a selfish side than just not as often
I
as what
think.
we used to have.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the other part that I had to I think through is to go from that frequency to that frequency without any communication. To me,
I agree. Without
something I'm
communication would be
like
the
something is like
Mhm.
you haven't again. If you now totally different story. If you've communicated, hey, your hygiene, your this something is messing. The lack of other types of intimacy, too much, like other things. But I'm like to go from 3 times a week to like once every other week is can again I would assume like you don't like me no more. So you know what I mean? Like, and it's 1 time a week. Do you really want to do it? Like, what's going on? Because that is a huge to not communicate where you are, what's going on. And again, I recognize attachment styles and the way we deal with conflict, depending on the person, can be. But that's a big swing.
I
That's a big,
wonder if that's why I guess I'm more reluctant to go so hard one way or the other. And I'm more in the solution space because we don't know what her
mm-mm,
commute what is actually the root of it. If we're going to say that it has to be something more than just I'm not that into it as much, I wonder if she's tried to communicate whatever the thing is, and now she's just like I've
I'm
done
done.
this.
Yeah,
I've done this and I'm just
could be.
not going to anymore. And now you're listening. So maybe she's not ready to talk now. Maybe she's and this may be manipulative. Like I'm perfectly fine with not gaining any points by making this point, but this might be what was necessary for him to finally be willing to have a different type of communication about their sex. We don't know if the quantity that they started out having was actually what she really wanted to do. And now that
Yeah.
she's tried to make some adjustments, she just said, you know what, damn it, no. Like, you know what I mean? And now we can have a different kind of conversation now. I mean, we sometimes, because we can't physically do what men can do, that forces us to have to do it differently sometimes. So, for as much as I know that sex isn't supposed to be a weapon or, we don't use it and do all those other things. Okay. Yes. However, comma. You know what I mean? Sometimes if you for that whole do what you got to do to get what you need done and those drastic times, drastic measures, all those types of things for a temporary time to make a point, I've seen it do what it needs to do for
I,
men and for women. For men and for women, but for whatever reason, we always hollering about when women close their legs. It's this whole travesty on the relationships.
okay.
But I'm not saying that you should do this. I led
Hmm.
with that. So you're not
Hmm.
finna side eye me because I led with that.
Hmm.
However, for the man who's willing to listen and hear and communicate back with a woman who is trying to communicate before closing down shop,
Hmm.
okay, if you
Hmm.
know your man's primary and only language is them legs and you
Hmm.
need some different actions taken, yes, she's gonna close them legs or leave. Which one you want her to do? Because that's always the other thing, or you could just leave. So now we're gonna abandon all the marriages because the men ain't listening.
Hmm.
So like
Okay.
I'm just like, y'all gotta let's be realistic. We ain't gonna counsel this one out when we got real life that's happening right here. Women got to do sometimes what they have to do to get action for them to be able to continue to do all of the things that men have become so used to. Like I'm just gonna call the spade to spade. That is just what has to happen sometimes. I didn't say forever. I didn't say draw it out and never make no changes or nothing like that. I'm saying if you ain't hearing her words while the legs is still opening because you still getting legs opening and she makes that dot, she connects them dots. Oh, he ain't listening because the cookie's still getting baked. Oh, okay. You this thing on? Like, and now all of a sudden, we got some attention. We got some time. Now you got some energy to talk now. Oh, okay. And then magically we can go back to the way we were. So I'm not even saying that's their thing, but if we're gonna go down that rabbit hole, like let's dig. Like I mean, that's
I'm gonna say this. I would if a person I recognize that there is real life happens and that there are certain times that um that it seems like that is the only thing to do. My concern is number one is that anytime you do that in the way is a difference to me between doing it because I don't want to and I feel and this doing this with what's happening makes me not want to do it as opposed to I am purposely withholding for that. To me, man or woman, if a man does it in another way, then both of those individuals when they do that are bringing something into the relationship that is only going to be reciprocated and continue. Like that's just a whole lot of mistrust to
I
and
never said withhold
no
just for the
no
sake of withholding. Yeah, I
I'm just
never
saying
said
that is what that as we do that if we do it strictly for that, so like I said, there's a difference between I'm feeling like he's not listening, and so it's causing me an emotional withdrawal, as opposed to okay, if this is the only way I can get him to listen, I'm shutting it down. Those are two totally different things, and so I'm
oh
just saying that we have to be careful. That again, same thing with men. We just have to be careful that when we do that, what we are entering into. So I get it, but I get your point. I get it.
okay.
All right. Next inbox question. What should I do to get over my ex? What should I do to get over my ex? I already know what Pancho gonna say to this one.
I think you should give yourself time. I don't know what to I don't know how to answer this. How should I get over my ex?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to give yourself time for that. You just are. You're gonna have to stay active. Do not go into a hole. Don't recluse. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna have to get back out, get social. That doesn't mean dating, but you're gonna have to get social. You're gonna have to stay with people who make you feel good. Try and find those people that make you feel good. But it's going to take time. Like you're especially depending on how long y'all were together, like the things that y'all went through, the experience, like that is going to take time. Be easy on yourself, be easy on your process. Um, but yeah, I that is a time thing. I've watched it happen way too many times. Any hurt that you go through is going to take time. So the severing of a relationship, that's a death. You're gonna have to grieve that. You have to grieve that. And don't hold those things it back. Don't like force yourself ready when you're
Mm-hmm.
not, because that's
Mm-hmm.
only going to delay whatever healing you're trying to
Yeah.
take part in.
So, how do you get over your ex? I think you gotta I think you have to be intentional about addressing every emotion.
That's
I
good.
think that there are whatever you're feeling, like you got to deal with that. You got to deal with. So if you feel sad, like deal with the sad. Why am I sad right now? What am I? If it's mourning, if it's grief, what am I grieving? Am I? And then what I always say is like then you have to settle it. Like you have to settle. I am grieving because I'm grieving. Are you grieving the person? The loss of the person? Are you grieving the loss of the relationship? Are you grieving because you have memories? Like, let me go through all of these to figure out what am I exactly process, and then let me process all of that in a healthy way, and realize that it's okay. It's okay to to hurt. It's okay to miss your ex. There's nothing wrong with missing an ex. That's nothing. It's wrong with missing the ex if you in a new relationship. Now that's a different discussion. But
You weren't done yet. You still had some healing left.
you gotta go through all. You gotta go through. I would say you need to go through the seasons. Go through the seasons. Go through the songs. Oh my God, like because there's certain songs that we attach to certain people. So you got to get to a point where when you hear them songs, you ain't ready to cry, and deal with all of that, like every emotion, process every emotion, and then once forgive yourself. I always tell people you got to forgive yourself, because a lot of times we like to go through everything else and talk about what the other person did, but we never deal with ourselves. But deal with yourself and the thing that you did, and then get to a space where you can learn from it. She ain't got no sense.
I can't stand her.
Where you learn from that relationship, and then and continue to learn, and then, like you said, I think, but all of that, like you said, does take time. It takes intentionality. It takes a lot of honesty and integrity. The other thing I always tell people is don't worry about the other person.
Yeah,
I think the less time you can
unfollow, block them if you need to, delete the numbers, unfriend the mom and them, all of them for a while. Y'all know why I'm doing this. Like, y'all know why. Yep.
But even, like you said, even not putting yourself in a position where you're like just spending a whole lot of time, just going to the places where we went. No, like just
go to the other side of the city,
and then
go over here.
Yeah, and then I tell a lot of people like who are divorced, like figure out what you like to do at that point. Because especially if you've been in a long-term relationship, there are some things that you've done that you don't realize that you probably don't even like anymore. Like figure all that out. Like I don't like this. It's not stuff I do. So yeah. What's she say?
She said she can always because your ass is crazy. That's why.
You and Shanae, what? She said.
Hey, ain't that what I told you? Ain't that what I told you? I said, my mama said.
You got 3 days.
You got 3 days, sis. If Christ can do it, you can do it. Get out.
Yeah, 3 days.
That ain't saying that you can't feel no type of way again, but that means it's time to move on. It's time
you got to start moving. And and everything that both of us have said are things that you got to move. Like you can't wallow. Like again, if you have moments where you need to take a moment and like do that, but that cannot be the perpetual place that you stay in. You gotta keep it moving. There's a whole lot of life out there. So hold on, let me back up. Dr. Damon said, "Feel what you need to feel until you don't need to feel it anymore." Yep. Or till you feel like it, or you feel it and it doesn't have the same effect. Like. You like, all right. I mean, that bothers me.
And congratulate yourself when you realize that.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Give yourself that. Okay,
absolutely.
Like give yourself that moment to say, okay, that's good. All right, we winning now. That's good. That's good.
It. What do you say? Don't get under someone to get over them.
Yeah. You just adding to your worries. Don't do that. Yeah.
Add to the body count. Time. Do what you love doing. Usually in relationships, we stop doing something we enjoy, start that up again. Yep. Shanae says detached is the first thing. Yep. Jamie says allow a period of complete disconnect from ex. Don't stalk their pages or try to hold them in immediate friendship with them, aka putting them on pause for a potential run it back situation.
Yep. Because that is a touchy time right after. You got to let it go for both of y'all. Both of y'all have the most potential to do the most damage during that period of what is this? Wow.
Yeah, you're not gonna make the best decisions in that period either.
No.
Yeah. Let's see. Look inward, and if the things you're feeling are healthy, or if it's healing you need for yourself. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that you mentioned that, Shanae, because that is often the thing that people will tell you not to do right after a breakup. Don't worry about what you did. You know, everyone wants to tell you how it was them. It was them. All of a sudden, you've been with this person for 5 years, and all of a sudden they trash everything they did. Girl, we knew that was only a matter of time. Like all of those types of things. Um, yeah, that might feel good like the first 48 to 72 hours after the breakup where you still deep in the pint and you know you whichever pint, ice cream, drink, whichever you prefer, you know, when you still deep in the thick of that, oh my God, what just happened moment. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, you might need your girls to come and surround you with some of that he ain't ish energy. Okay, fine. But after all of that is done, okay, 3 days after that, on that fourth day, sis, I'm gonna need you to look at you, okay? I'm gonna need
absolutely.
you
Yeah,
to have a moment of self-reflection on exactly what transpired in that relationship, the good, the bad, and the ugly that you both played in that. Because, well, maybe not on the fourth day, but y'all get what I'm saying. Before you get ready to say, let me create that profile on said dating site, before I go to said singles night and say I'm out here, you know what I mean? Before I city girls it up again, you know what I mean? Before you do those things and put yourself back out there to potentially be back hurt in this position again, look at what it is that you did in said situation that got you there. Because
absolutely,
if you're trying to avoid the hurt, you were also a part of the transaction.
absolutely.
So like if it was just not, if it wasn't just a blatant out, he really was trash and there was no real reason for this type of thing, because those situations happen too. It ain't always shared. But
Mm,
let's be real. A lot of the time it's some sharing going on of responsibility for why the thing didn't work. So I don't think for women specifically, we spend enough time really doing that, dealing with that actionable part of
yep,
that we played in
yep,
in the relationship or the end of.
I would agree. I can honestly say there's very few times I've actually heard a lady say, "I messed that up."
Mm-hmm.
I don't hear that very often.
Yeah,
I
not
don't.
out loud. They say it in groups. We
Well, I
don't.
mean, even like I'm talking about, like even in counseling sessions or in like in the professional counseling sessions, that
Oh yeah.
it's usually him, and I'm like, "So you didn't do nothing?" No, it was
Wow.
all him. I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right." So,
Yeah. Even in the midst of my mess, I can tell you, yeah, I was a bit messy.
or they're like, "Well, I mean,
I can try and find it. Like,
I did this, but it wasn't that bad to you. To
yeah,
you,
that was real. Yeah.
that was bad." So,
Mhm.
Corey said, "Don't get revenge. Don't immediately replace them with others. Learn from it. Forgive yourself."
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yes, sir. That's good. All right.
Come on, fellas. Come
What's it?
on, Mitts. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. I told the fellas that they ain't gonna leave me tonight. They're not gonna leave me out here tonight.
I like it. We love to see it. We love to see it.
Absolutely. Here's another one. Inbox question. My family hates my boyfriend. Should I go forward with the wedding or what? I added this part because, of course, I had to go back and ask. So the relationship is good. There's nothing crazy happening. Not it's not toxic, um, and they do not say why they hate him. He has a job, but he does make less money than her. He has no children. He hasn't cheated. There's no abuse. There's no like normal. Not gonna say normal, but you know what I mean. There's no blaring reason where you can be like, oh yeah, that's what they don't like. Like no extra kid, baby mama drama, nothing. There was
Hmm.
none of that. So I was like, okay, so they haven't given you any reason, any indication. I'm like, I even asked the question, have you gone to them and told them stuff that you didn't like about him, like when y'all argue and stuff like that? And they were like, nope. They just don't like him and they won't give me a reason why. So she's saying, should she go forward with the wedding or should she wait?
Is she from a family where is she from a very traditional family where mama's at the house, or provision, like the men or men and that type of thing? Like, does she come from that dynamic, or is she the baby? Is
She's
she
not the baby. I don't.
okay?
From what I know, I can't say
Is
she's
she the
like.
one that everyone is waiting on to win?
I don't know. That might be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, baby. That's what I need more than anything. Thank you, sugar. Appreciate it. I was thirsty. Uh, if she is there, I'm asking these questions because you covered the primaries,
Mm-hmm.
but the whole make money less, that, like, there are some things, families, they girls, man, they girls. And they'll give their girls a whole lot of leeway to try to figure it out. And they give a lot of yeah, she did. uh so, when it comes to they might not give you the full rundown if they trying to let you figure it out, because they want to give you just a little space to see. But your people have, a lot of the times, they have a vision for you that you don't always see for yourself. You might not even want said vision for yourself, but because they've attached you to that vision so hard, and they think this person is derailing that in some way or another, oh yeah, ain't gonna be no future for them. They're gonna have to do some things to prove that there's a spot there. Now, I'm also one to say, don't give that a whole lot of energy, him proving himself to them. That is not going to do anything for their relationship if they decide to go forward. As long as he's staying respectful, he's staying in the space that is going to be supportive and loving and good to her, and that is his intention, and she feels that those are the intentions, that he is doing what he's doing, like he can take care and do what he's supposed to do, and they just might not like dude a whole lot. I mean, those things will work themselves out. But like my mama ain't playing. She showed that that the beginning of the Willis family was not an easy transition, period. Okay. Like, and over time that had to be shown. And now, honey, she argues me to the ground about her son-in-law, to the
I mean,
point,
I
hey,
told you.
like, I don't want to hear his
I told you.
son-in-law.
He's the man. I done told you that.
Yeah.
Don't roll your eyes. Don't roll your eyes.
Yeah.
Don't roll
Yeah. But that's why I ask those questions, because it's a lot of pressure on, and I feel her. Like, I feel her and her frustration and the confusion behind it. That's a tough spot to be in. Because that's what we're taught to do. You're supposed to grow up and find you a husband, and you know what I mean? But they don't really tell you that this husband is also going to have to super qualify for all these other people that he ain't gonna be husbanding. So the whole thing is, it gets to be kind of murky, and you have to learn how to set boundaries in that, and figuring that out, or else it's going to cause that relationship undue drama.
Yeah.
So
I wonder. So my questions were like, have you done counseling? How long have you been together? Like, I wanted to know that kind of stuff. So have you done counseling, like professional counseling, that could potentially have uncovered, some stuff? Like, yeah, done all of that. Again, like how long, like how long have you been together? Has it been like 6 months, or has it been like 6 years? Like,
yep.
I mean, it was a decent amount of time. And I'm like, if in a couple of years you haven't seen anything that would warrant this response, like, you have to make your own decision.
Yeah, that's your man.
I'm huge into the, in the multitude of counsel, there's safety. I'm huge into that. But at the same time, at the end of the day, this is you and him, his decision, and y'all have to make that decision and be willing to live with whatever you decide. So, again, I'm like, who have you talked to? Who has been, do y'all have people around you who are holding you accountable? Are you being authentic with those people?
Yeah. Did she say how he was feeling about this? Has he picked up on it? Has he? No, she didn't mention him.
She
Or
didn't
no,
say
he
whether or
hasn't said.
not like he knows, but she didn't mention like to the depth, like he knows that they say stuff, but it wasn't like he know like they hate him and he knows it. It wasn't like that. It was just like they know he has a problem, or he knows that they're asking questions, and he's just like, look, we got to move on with our life because we can't live for your parents. So
Mhm. I wonder what you and his conversation would be like, though. How old are these people?
yeah,
Ballpark.
yeah, late 20s, like late
Mhm.
20s.
Yeah, I would be interested in his perspective on that.
That's true. That would be a very interesting conversation. I usually find
Yeah.
out some different things from the man.
Uh-huh.
So
I found out some different things from my man when I found out. That's why
yeah,
I said, like, that you got to protect your relationship if you're gonna keep it. Because she didn't say should I go ahead with it or wait. She did or not. She said or wait. So like she wants to marry this man. It's
mm-hmm.
just now or later. They gonna get married. It ain't a matter of if. It's a matter of when.
Win, absolutely.
So she needs to be having some real conversations with his perception of this and what it's doing to their relationship. Does he feel what her part in that is? Is she aiding and abetting these weirdness? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is she
Now
so
I didn't get
confused?
into that. Now I'll say that I didn't get
Okay.
any into that. So,
But he might need to have that conversation so there can be an understanding there
it's
because she
good.
might not know that that's how he's seeing this happen. Because for
Mm-hmm.
her to still be this confused and they're talking about a wedding and she has no clue on why my family doesn't dig you and we're getting ready to get married, I'm wondering if he's wondering, why ain't you ask some more good questions? Like, what questions are you asking? We trying to
Yeah,
do forever, and this is Sunday dinners, this is Christmas, this is Thanksgiving, this is death, this is births, this is
yeah. I get the indication that he's like, look, we've tried to have the conversation.
Mhm.
They don't want to tell us or tell you. I'm done with it. Like this is our decision. Like that's what I get from it, and from her, I get more so of like the he doesn't meet like we had somebody different in mind type thing is what I get from what I am hearing. But again,
Yeah. I'm interested in a couple session. To see what.
listen, a
Mhm.
couple sessions. Whew. Anyway, let me read the comments. Latavia says, luckily for her, they aren't dating him. Congratulations on the wedding. Kellen says, if I have nothing to do with the vetting, then don't call me if there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Does he treat her?
Heard that one too.
That usually doesn't last though, but yeah, that's true. What's going on? You told me don't call. Remember?
But then I don't call. Well, I mean, this is where we at. Like,
Corey said, if the family reasoning is not valid, cut your umbilical cord and do you. If the reasoning is valid, consider it as it can help you, but ultimately make your decision. Yeah. She said, that's my baby now. He grown. Oh, oh. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. Oh, don't be like that. All right, last but definitely not least, we go switch. This is not a inbox question. David Chappelle is in the news. Our good buddy David Chappelle. Netflix has decided that David Chappelle is going to host. He's going to executive produce, not host, excuse me, Chappelle's Home Team comedy special. And so what this is he is going to be again executive producing people who have been in the comedy game, but you know don't have specials. So I think the first one is Earthquake, who, if you're a comedy, you follow comedy, you know him. The second is Donnell Rawlings. So people who have been in the game for a long time, but aren't getting the specials like Chappelle is.
Yeah.
So he's got, I think it says 4 of them that he's going to be doing for them. And so as executive, it's him, Stan Latham, and I forgot who the other person was who was going to be helped. Stan Latham's going to be directing. but looks like a pretty good lineup, and I'm interested. This is interesting because um, with the closer, there were a lot of people who thought that he would go away and they
Yeah.
would cancel him, and so I read several articles that said basically. If nothing else, this is proof that cancel culture is crazy. That you can do what you want if you're big enough, or say what you want if you're big enough, and bring in enough money. So yeah, what's your thoughts on David Chappelle and executive producing for Netflix?
I don't mind this. I expected this. When they doubled down when folks was mad about the closer, I'm like, yeah, because there's multiple checks being cut behind the scenes for Netflix. Netflix knows that Dave Chappelle is going to bring, he understands the assignment every time for them. And to continue to have someone produce for you in that way, you have to show support to them when it's needed. And Dave Chappelle is one of them folks. He gonna call you a bluff on your
Mhm.
support, and he has enough platform to be able to do that. Um, you also know that I've had a very mixed relationship with
You
Mr.
have,
Chappelle
you have.
over time. Um, but as far as the closer is concerned, I understood it better than all of the others.
Mhm.
Period. So yeah, I don't, he has his missteps like all of the comedians do. That is a very, very fine line to walk, especially right now. So I can't say with all certainty that Dave Chappelle ain't gonna piss me off again in the future. Like I think he has a very, very high propensity to piss me off again in the future. But I mean, I think this is really good. I think this is good. He will be the one that will get, we know Earthquake, but we know Earthquake. There's a whole generation of folks who don't know him and need to see that content. And when he was Earthquake that we know, there was no Netflix. If you didn't
Mhm.
watch comedy, what was it?
Comedy Central.
Not Comedy Central, Comic View or
Oh, Def Comedy Jam.
Def Comedy Jam, those types of spots, you didn't know Earthquake. Netflix, you gonna know Earthquake. You gonna, that bad boy gonna pop up, because it's attached to Dave Chappelle. So I think from an exposure perspective, from a keep the party going perspective, I think this will be fine. You're not gonna get rid of Dave Chappelle. So you might as well get him to work for the culture. So
I'm gonna tell you something. I think that last part of what you just said. I think that to me is what makes this huge. Is we're starting to see him. Not this is his thing. Pulling some of the other
yeah.
people up, and I think that's absolutely
He's tired
great.
of us talking about him. He said, "Y'all cancel them for a minute.
Well, I
Cancel
mean,
somebody else."
I think
Hell.
I think what he I mean he told us like, hey, this is the last special I'm gonna do for a while.
Mhm.
So and we know he's building up his own thing, so his own comedy club, his own so he's in the right to start doing some of these things. And again, both of these two, they didn't announce who all four of them were. They just talked about the first two have been around for a while.
Yeah.
So it's not like these are comedians who can't deliver, but like you said, they just don't have the same exposure. So if he can help that group of comedians, come up, take that next step, then I mean, who
Yep.
knows what's next? I mean,
Yep.
I
Let's
think
go.
it's a good move. They were not going to cancel him. Let's just be
No.
straight. Netflix is not going to cancel him.
No.
They can't. They
Mm-mm.
cannot.
That's that. They can't risk it, and the way that would ripple through all of the other deals that they're attempting to make. He has created such a strong support within the genre that he
Yeah.
is now one of the move makers. He's at
Oh,
the king's table.
he's the.
Or I mean, yeah, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So like that is going to affect future money for them.
yep.
So yeah. I mean, and
Yeah.
from a business perspective, you can feel how you want to feel about whatever soapbox you're trying to step up on. But from a business perspective, Netflix is not a social justice business. That's not what that's not what they're here for. They are a content provider, and
Right.
they provide content.
Right.
And they well produces content that
A
a
lot of people.
huge group of their target want to see. Yep.
Yep, absolutely. Again, they keep going up on prices. They better do. They got to do something. Uh,
Listen,
I was going to
for me
say
to continue to ignore those emails
because right because
about
the
the
other
prices going up.
alternative. You think about it. I mean, it's a very similar situation like what happened at Spotify with Joe Rogan. Like
Mhm.
Joe, they weren't going to cancel Joe Rogan. Come on,
Nope.
like
Nope.
they just gave this man $100 million. So everybody who's like,
Knowing
oh,
well that he was talking crazy prior to offering that $100 million, they
absolutely,
knew he was talking crazy.
yep. But they also knew
Yep.
that 11 to 12 million people a week listen to his show and they need them on that platform. So they
Mhm.
were going to do whatever they had to do to try to appease everybody else, but they were not going to cancel Joe Rogan. And because the alternative, what I was getting to is the alternative is you now create competition that you now yourself can't compete with. And I think that's the thing people miss. You kick off a Dave Chappelle, that's fine. Then let's just say Dave Chappelle decides to go to a Facebook and
Mhm.
says Facebook, hey, listen, I'll do this on your platform only. And now Facebook turns into a net. Like I think we don't like from a business perspective, we have to think through those kinds of things. That we can make all the noise we want, but in some instances, you gotta they can't. They won't. They won't.
Yep.
So I mean we can not like it, but
Yeah, just don't
somebody
watch. That's what be killing me.
somebody
For people, for all the programs on there, y'all mad.
yeah.
Don't watch it. And do you think that $19 from just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't,
I don't think enough $19 will be problematic, but there
yeah,
wasn't enough people
they don't
in
have
that
enough.
instance that weren't doing that.
They don't believe you. You need more people.
Yeah. All right, that was the end of our hot topics this week. That was a heavy and good. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, why don't you tell us about what's going on with hold on, what you say? Shanae says people have to stop needing justification from others for what they want to do. Just do it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
All right, go for it. You want me to play the video?
Yeah, let me mute so it don't do the revert thing.
Oh, let me mute too. Hold on.
Hey Sugars, have you heard about the Blocked and Beautiful Braid Balm from Elegance by Design? The days of braids being weighed down by heavy products that don't hold are over. Blocked and Beautiful Braid Balm is perfect for box braids, updos, and the most intricate of braid styles. Let your creative juices flow, knowing Elegance by Design has your braids on lock. Order yours now at elegancebydesign.com.
All right. You got? Can you hear? You just unmuted yourself.
I know. Me clicking the button. Right. Well, you guys heard me on the ad. The Blocked and Beautiful Braid Balm is absolutely what you need for all of your puffs, ponytails, slick back styles. As you see, I offered 3 different ways to use the product just there in that ad. So if it is something that you are trying to hold on to as far as your crown is concerned, I'm definitely inviting you to try the Blocked and Beautiful Braid Balm as well as our Sleek and Sassy Edge Control. It is These 2 products are they restored my faith in holding products. I have been so reluctant to add these types of products to the Elegance by Design line because I feel we've been abusing them in our community, and we are covering up the fact that we don't take very good care of our hair because these products allow for that. So when I was able to create and cultivate a product that I could be proud of and that I felt was also adding to our crowns, not just to the aesthetic, but also allowing for you to care for and nourish your hair in between. trying to slay, that is when it was time for me to add these types of products to the line. So they've got my 100,000% backing. So I go on and try that, y'all. elegancebydesign.com. You will enjoy.
All right. Oh yes. So y'all have until midnight. So that's my 2/22/22 sale. So if you have not gotten my Mastering Your Money workbook and so I'm offering until midnight. So 2-3 hours my Mastering Your Money workbook and financial planner, which are both $67 a piece. I am offering both for 3 more hours for 20, both together for $22.
Mm, 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 mm.
Because this the only day is 2/22/22. That's the only day I'm doing it. So you better hurry up and go and get them. It's yeah, y'all better go get them because I'm not doing it no more. So it's gumroad.com Winfrey Burns the second, and you'll see it says 2/22/22 sale. You have until midnight, and that Jones comes down. So yeah, the Mastering Your Money workbook that will walk you to how to build a financial plan, and then the financial planner that will help you carry out the financial plan. So $22, 3 more hours, and that's it.
Not 12:02, not
Listen,
12:22,
I got the thing set to come down at
12:00.
12:01. So and
See, told you, not 12:02,
don't
01.
inbox me talking about can I get it?
No.
And then of course y'all join us tomorrow. Join us tomorrow on no Thursday. Excuse me,
Thursday.
Thursday. Oh, Clubhouse Thursday at 8 o'clock, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Y'all, yeah. The pre discussion to this discussion is about was lit.
Uh-huh.
So we're talking about. Hold on. Help me out, co-host. Help me out.
Okay, so this is your sassy pants in action right now. Okay, so we are going to talk about, does provision need a revision? The twists and turns we take, and the excuses we make to keep this relationship sailing. Okay, we digging into this whole idea of the provider and what that means and the willingness to get down through there when all of the things aren't in alignment. And honestly, between us, why we be hemming and hawing around when it starts talking about providing and the provision and the finances and things like that. But when we talk about what we do as the women's, it's by any means necessary. Hold on, sis, it's coming. The provision is coming, sis. So yeah, we're gonna talk about it, okay? On tomorrow on the Clubhouse. We're gonna get down into it. Yeah, I did one of these with the flame. I flame on in our chat earlier today with this one.
I was looking at the comments like, oh, I guess I need to catch up. This is gonna be a good conversation. So again, Thursday night in Clubhouse. You all can literally go there. If you're on Clubhouse now, go find the scoop on Clubhouse and just like the Clubhouse. So when we go live, you get notified. Mm-hmm. Yes, Alyssa, it's going to be good. So you might want to make sure I know you're gonna be there. So
yes. Yeah.
All right, you ready to jump?
Started with the side eye. Tomorrow night's conversation all started with a friendly side eye to my good brother Win.
Thursday's conversation.
Thursday, yeah, not tomorrow. Thursday. See, now I gotta get that back in my brain. Thursday, okay. Yeah. But tonight's convo, the one that we're all here for, okay, the one I'm so excited about for tonight, we are talking about why is it so hard for us to fight for ourselves within the realm of relationships. Okay. Um, a lot of the times we find ourselves when we're having conversations, whether it be in forums like this, or I know Winfred as a counselor and in the role that he plays in church, as well as to all of us, he often hears about how I'm just not getting enough, or I'm just, even the conversation we were having at the top of the show, you know what I mean, about all the potentials of what could or could not be, as to, you know, why someone may not be wanting to do what they're expected to do anymore. And we wanted to talk about tonight, why is it harder for us to stand up for, fight for, hold on a little longer to the things that we want for ourselves in relationships. I know the past few years we've heard a lot about how now all of a sudden expectations is a bad word. No one can say I expect this type of love or this type of show up for me or any of that. You know, now it's you are supposed to provide your own happy. You know, you're the only thing you can expect is what you can do for you and da 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 da. But we're all still very concerned with being partnered and providing or receiving all of the bells and whistles that come with partnering. But then when it comes to actioning what that partnership looks like, then it's, oh no, 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 but wait, you can't ask for things from them. No. So we, you know, and then we allow it as participants in the relationship. We hear that so many times, or we get shut down so many times. There comes to a point where we say, okay, you know what, fine, forget it. I won't ask for that anymore. Just fine. I'm just going to suffer. I'm just going to deal with, I'm going to resent. I'm going to, you say cope.
And
Yeah,
hope that
I'm gonna hope. Yeah, I'm gonna hope. Yeah, you know that eventually they're gonna hear me if I just hint hard enough. If I just mope long enough. If I, you know, with clink clink long enough. If I do whatever it is, then magically this thing is going to happen for me. Or, you know, fine, I don't even want that thing anymore, but I'm not going to release the thing that I'm holding on to about my want. You know what I mean? So we wanted to kind of get through the why of this. And is this just misprogramming that's happening because it's so much? Are we overwhelmed with all of the perspectives that we're supposed to have and the way that we're, or to the point where we no longer identify with what our desires are and who should be the ones to help us get there, if we decide that that's the route that we're going to take? Because our society is telling us get with, but also stay you know, stay separate, but also find somebody. So, you know, we could talk about it. If it's just as simple as we don't know what they want us to do out here, we just trying to make it, you know. Like I can somewhat see that too, because from an observant perspective, I get it. From a person within a relationship, I get that too. You know what I mean? I can understand where at some point you just want to throw your hands up and say, you know, I don't know, but this isn't working, because that is what we have figured out. It's not currently working. The fact that folks are fighting to be heard, but not saying anything at the same time is a problem. So that's what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm be honest. I think Alyssa's comment is actually a lot of the reason why. I think that a lot of people are really. She said it's terrifying to think about the repercussions of drawing a hard line when you're deep in the timeline of a relationship. It begs the thought: is this worth starting all the way over? And I think that is a huge thought that people have. I mean, relationships and marriage and jobs, and yes, I think that's a very honest response that people have when they're having this we're having this discussion. I, I think,
And people tell you it's not worth starting over for
yeah, they
when you try and talk it out. Mm-hmm.
absolutely. I think so. For me, I think that the thing that helps is to, first of all, is to be honest enough to say, and this is kind of what we started last week on Clubhouse, was that I'm worth, first of all, I'm worth somebody meeting my expectations. Unless they're, now let me say, unless they're ridiculous expectations. Now there are ridiculous expectations out there. So, and I'm going to use my words well. That's that was. There are ridiculous expectations out there, but there are also expectations that are not ridiculous that we think are ridiculous because culturally they've told us they're ridiculous. So
Yeah.
I want to there's a difference. So the difference meaning to expect someone to always be there or respond the right way, or you know what I mean, like that's ridiculous. People are human. That's not going to happen. But to say that my expectation is that you care, to at least walk through, walk well with me through this relationship so that we can come to a place where we are, where we can come to some common ground and communicate. Like that's not a ridiculous expectation.
No.
So I think we have to differentiate between the two. So again, as long as we don't have any type of ridiculous expectation, we have to believe that we are worth somebody doing that, and that if a person refuses to do it, now I say refuses because there are people who don't know how, and there's a difference between don't know how and refuse to learn how versus refuse to. So if a person refuses to try, then we have to love ourselves enough to say that it is more, I am more important than to immerse myself into this thing that is going to cause me to lose myself.
Yep.
Because I can afford to lose this relationship, but I cannot afford to lose myself. And all of the cultural things that tell us that that's not acceptable, we have to be honest enough to say that they are lying.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a lie. And I say this as somebody who even comes from the religious context, where oftentimes we tell people to stay in relationships that they shouldn't stay in. That even sometimes we have to be honest enough with ourselves to say that, listen, this is just not a good place for me to be anymore. I recognize, that I recognize what's happening. And I'm not suggesting, listen, Winfrey Burns II is not suggesting everybody go out and get a divorce. But let's just be, I'm just gonna throw it out there because y'all will tell me that that's what I'm saying. But that this relationship's just not any good for me anymore. And not in the term, again, I'm not saying you're not getting what you want. I'm saying that the normal expectations that should be in a relationship, they should be there, and you're worth somebody doing that. You're worth somebody saying, like, I'm gonna put in the work for you. Both people saying that.
Yep.
Like, I'm gonna put in the work for you. I'm gonna put in the work for you. Oh, I use that word. I hate that word, work. You got me. Okay. I'm going back to Endeavor. So
please don't. I revert all of my gloating just now, as long as we don't go back to Endeavor. Like, I will take it all back. Just don't go back to Endeavor.
And that's, again, that's men and women. So I think that we gotta, again, I think that's the basis of how we start. Like, I'm worth it. There's enough value in me. There's a goodness in me that you should do that you should want. If you're going, that you should show up.
Yeah.
Like the bare
That's
minimum.
one of the things that fuzzies my brain so much about where we currently are when we discuss relationships. As far as I have expectations, but you can't give me expectations. I want to be in a relationship, but like the things that require me to, like, the discipline parts or the stretch parts, no, I don't want that. I didn't ask for that part. You know what I mean? Like the whole, I'm going to work for this. I'm going to stretch myself. I'm going to get a little uncomfortable. I'm going to break a little sweat. I'm going to do more for you differently than I do for all of these people. To me, I don't understand why we would put ourselves in a position of partnership and then say, I don't want a partner though. And then wonder why it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Like
Because so let me good question. So I think to your question, a lot of that starts with the foundation of what we think. First of all, most of us don't want partnerships. Let me start there.
mm,
Most people who get into relationships are looking for someone to serve them and to love them. And let's be real. When we say that we want somebody to love us, a lot of times what we're saying, we're not saying is we don't want someone to check us when we're wrong or to hold us
mm,
accountable. We want somebody to make us feel good.
mhm.
So we're not entering into what the reality of a relationship is, right? We're entering into like the fairy tale of you supposed to hold me and buy me things and let me post me to social media and take me out on nice dates and do the things that
We
make
want the
you
look
good.
of a healthy relationship without going to the gym. We want to look cut, but don't do any,
But we don't
not
want to
now push
know.
up, now
We don't want
crunch.
no
Okay.
diet. We don't
Okay.
want to. Yeah, we don't want the discipline. We don't want the pain. We don't want. Yeah, and that's part of the problem. And so now I'm coming into like you said, and now I'm telling you all of my demands. But the moment or my expectations, not demands, but my expectations. That's how they come across sometimes. My expectations. But the moment somebody give them some expectations, they like, nah, just take me as I am. Well, that's it's like no, that's no,
Mm,
no, just not to
mm,
go.
yeah. Okay. So bringing it back to our topic, as far as why don't we fight for ourselves? I now have a question based on what we just talked about, as far as the selfishness and how everyone is me, and what I'm gonna do and what I'm gonna expect you to do, what I ain't gonna do and what I'm gonna need you to do. Do you think that energy that's being put out there is possibly keeping those who don't have this extreme perspective of relationships, but don't have really the words to say, I'm selfless enough to quiet what I need for you, but I still need you to hear these things? Because like that's an extreme space to be in. That's a weird spot to be in, because we're told to be a good spouse or to be a good mate. There's a level, almost bit my cheek. There's a level of selflessness that we're supposed to come into it with.
Yes,
So if at some point we identify, wait a minute, I need something different. I need this thing doesn't align with what I need anymore, or I don't like this. This here don't feel good. You know what I mean? This doesn't feel like something that I'm gonna want to hang around. And the correction is actions for you. So now you're in a spot of, how do I position this action for you, for me? And position it in such a way that you now are motivated to take these actions in love, not resentment, not in duty. Oh, when she go with us again, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But because I in such a way that you now want to take these actions for me. So and to not come off as though I'm one of these people over here. So, and this is for men and women, because there's a lot of men who are trying to wade
mm-hmm.
through, not
Mm-hmm.
trying to sound like the rest of these
Mm-hmm.
out here. You know what I mean? So it's a hard place to say, hey, I need you to do this thing for me, and then that not feel selfish, because we hear a lot of chatter about what is considered selfish now, as opposed to what's considered, I'm taking care of myself,
Mm-hmm.
or person that signed up to help take care of me as my spouse, my partner, my forever. I need you to do this for me. You know what I mean? And the sole reason is I need it. You might not get nothing else out of it other than the fact that you knew that you did something for me that I needed. And that is a weird spot to be in sometimes, especially if you have not come from an environment where speaking your needs and then people actioning those needs happens regularly, without a
Absolutely,
lot of fuss, without a lot of
absolutely,
debate, without a lot
absolutely, absolutely,
extra attached to it. So it's not one of those, well, you should just ask for what you want. That's not as natural to some people
absolutely.
as we assume. So like, what are your thoughts on that? What would you say? How would you go about that, Win?
Yeah, I mean, I got to start with the same thing. Like, so I think first of all, for me, because this is something that I struggle with. To this day, I still have to walk through this process of reminding myself that it's okay for me to say what I need. It's okay because for whatever reasons. But I think it's redefining. So first of all, it's redefining selfishness as not being something that is bad, but something that is normal. So that there are periods in all of our lives where selfishness is actually appropriate. It's appropriate for me to be selfish at times. The second thing I've had to learn is that I have a tendency to give from the parts of me that I'm supposed to save for me. So once I learn how to stop doing that, then it forces me to put up the right boundaries and realize that the questions or the things that I do need, the things that I am saying that I need, are, even though they feel selfish and are selfish, are still within the parameters or the boundaries of what my relationship is supposed to be. And that's also given that the fact that I've communicated this to my partner. Because if I haven't communicated this to my partner, then that's problematic. But yeah, so as long as I've done, like, I'm okay with that. So I think we have to say, like, this is an expectation. Again, this person has signed up to do this.
Yeah.
And when they signed up knowing that at some point I was going to need something.
Yeah. And we have to be able to be okay holding them accountable to that. Yeah. Like, that is okay. Because otherwise, do it by yourself. Like, otherwise, stay single.
The other part of it is we got to be okay with being by ourselves sometimes.
Being by ourselves. Because going back to the beginning of this conversation where we talked about how people will tell you, it's not what to Alyssa's point, as far as, starting all the way over and all that. A lot of the times when we go to counsel to seek counsel and just to bounce things off of, because, everyone says go only talk to the one person. Sometimes you need another person. Sometimes you need a third party that is not connected, that did not take a vow, that doesn't have an interest in it, to just hear you, to be that devil's advocate, that outside looking in, okay, what's really happening type of thing. A lot of the time, some folks will tell you out of their comfort to stick there, to do what you got to do, because they know that what that fallout looks like. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So these people sign you, if you're going into a partnership, and then you really have to think that is the time to be selfish, because this is often the time folks get real kumbaya about you. Yeah. So you can't, that is, and I've learned that, you know what I mean, over time. You've learned that you have to be able to identify those folks who are going to step outside of that and be objective for you. And then at the same time, you have to be that advocate that says, you know what? I don't necessarily need everybody to agree that this is for me and this is something that I need. This just needs to happen, damn it. And you the one that signed up to do it. Oh, you know what? Oh, there's a refusal. Back to what you said earlier. Oh, it's not a matter of I can't right now. I need a little more resources. I need to learn how. Can you show me? Can we try this first? These are all workable. These are all solution based. These are, we gonna get to some action that's gonna get you your satisfaction so that you can move on. Those things work, but just no, I ain't gonna do that. Yeah. That ain't me. That ain't in me. I ain't that type of. I ain't built like, we don't do that. Oh, that ain't it. You ain't know me. Oh, okay. Yeah. Noted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you said, unless we're talking about something that's different. But yeah, absolutely. If you have a need, if you have, like, it really, I think it's okay to say, this is not who I am. Like, that's fine. This is not who I am. This is not what I normally do. The problem is when you refuse to do it afterwards. Like, okay, to me, if you're doing something for me that I know is uncomfortable for you, then to me, there's all the more, like, I have all the more gratitude that you're willing to try it. Like, okay, I know this. I really appreciate you. I think the problem is that when we get in a space where where like both people are doing this at the same time, because a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times what happens is, like you were alluding to earlier, one person is okay with being in this space of selflessness, while the other person is like, ooh, I get to be selfish, and so I'm just gonna keep being selfish until the selfless person is like,
No.
I done had enough. And
Mm-hmm.
so now it's like all, so I think so, but when both people start doing it, then it's just like it's trouble, because
Mm-hmm.
now it's a whole lot of work to do to kind of get it back together, and nobody, now everybody is going to fight for themselves, and nobody is going to turn to the other person and try to do what's best for the other person or for the relationship. So it's yeah, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it feels like the person who should get to show out doesn't
It
for
does.
that reason.
It does
You
feel
know
like
what I mean? For that, because in that situation that I was wondering if you were going to go on, if you were going to continue it with the whole take the high road thing. Sometimes we got, and I was thinking to myself, not, I didn't want to put that voice on it, but you know what I mean. I'm so sick of the take the high. I told y'all my high road is under construction right now. Y'all gonna have to detour away from Q's high road. I ain't got that. But it's one of those things that in relation we that is often how we end up talking about it. Well, you both can't do that. Somebody's got to be. And I often think, well, why can't it be the person who needs to take the action first? Like I think sometimes we've got to be able to say, no, you just need this, do better. Like you don't get to
well,
show out now because I'm showing out. Not you.
yeah,
Not
yeah, no,
I'm
yeah,
just saying, because a
yeah.
lot of the times that is what happens.
It is.
Often
It
we
is.
both end up showing out now. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? And then they end up going to the person who's usually more level headed and say, now this
It,
person gets the
yeah, and so
blame.
in theory, yeah, you're correct. But I think the purpose of doing that, of the high road in this instance, is because the person who is doing that is really typically the mature one. And to
Hmm.
your point, absolutely, if this continues to happen, that's why I said there has to be a situation where both people are actually trying. If the
Hmm.
other person is legitimately not trying, then you got to look into a situation. Again, I'm not saying everybody need to get divorced, get a relationship, but
Right,
where
right,
you
right.
really have to say, is this a real relationship? Because if it's not a real relationship, then really I'm being pimped. Like I'm in this relationship
That's the
where this
thing right
person is
there.
trying to
Is
pimp
this really
me,
a
and
relationship? Yeah.
they're just trying to get from me and not willing to put into me. And if a person's not interested in putting into you or pouring into you or helping you meet your goals, then that's not a relationship.
Agreed.
They pimping and you ain't the pimp. You the prostitute. Like
This
you
the bad side of the deal. You're on the
like
wrong side of the track.
yeah, they getting
Literally.
they sending you to work every day. You ain't get like what? So I think we have, but again, because we want, and again, and now if I'm speaking in the context of marriage, there's is that period is probably going to be, I would say, probably a little longer in most instances, but even still, you got to look in that relationship and say, like, listen, this cannot be the norm. It
Mm-hmm.
cannot be the norm where I am carrying the brunt of the weight of this and you just enjoying yourself like eating Cheetos all day. Like that's just not how this gonna work. This can't work. There could be seasons like that, but this can't be the sum total of our relationship because the one person will get burnt out, angry, bitter. Your self esteem will be low. You'll be sitting there thinking something wrong with you. You run down trying to figure out how come this person who says they love me look at me and treat me like this, or then see me hurting and not respond in the way to try to build me up. And you going down and down and down and down.
Yep.
You should have just left a long time ago.
We should have just been out. Mm-hmm.
Again, caveat. Not saying getting divorced. I gotta start it. But I am saying, like, I don't. I am saying I'm not. When it gets to a point, you gotta step back,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't always mean divorce. That can mean separation. That can mean But you got to do something. You just can't continue in that because you'll be dead
Yeah.
emotionally, physically, mentally,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not healthy.
This is something. This is something too that I think it's not always rooted in specific relationships, like male,
True.
like
True.
for me, it's a, if I love you and you're in my heart as one of my people, I struggle with fighting for myself, period.
Mm-hmm.
For my wants, my needs, the things that I need changed on my behalf, those types of things. I take way too long to have those conversations with the people that I love.
You know,
Strangers, I can be very assertive, direct. I can tell you exactly what I need, how I need you to do it, and at what time I need it done by, and not even blink. You know what I mean? Because there's not that intimate connection. It's not that I don't care, but I don't care at the same time. There's not a level of care attached to your willingness to do this for me or not. It's more transactional when there's no intimacy attached to it. So when we have these types of, like, I don't, in a way, I want you to also, if this is something that you, as we're talking through this, you see yourself like, damn, I might be this person that needs to say something. You know what I mean? This also happens in other spaces, in other relationships. It shows up in non-romantic relationships. If you are a spouse and you know your spouse is one of these people who does not really speak up for themselves to other people that they trust, love, care about, allow in to them, and they come back and at the end of the night they're frustrated and telling you all the stories about how they wish they could say, and if only they would hear. I can guarantee you, unless you are overworking the, hey, babe, is there anything that I can do for you? Is there something that I need? Did you like the way that I did that? Is there anything, like, if you are not diligent, if you are not intentional about checking in with your spouse on those things, I bet you they got a story or two about you too.
oh yeah.
And that is not to a diss or them saying, well, they need to just open their mouth. That's honestly a care. That is a deep level of care that they have. And it's also it's a fear that they have of somehow not, either their need is too much and they're afraid that you're going to tell them, no, I ain't gonna be able to do that, or you aren't enough to do that. Like, that is a self-esteem thing. That is a thing that happens when you allow someone in so much, when you know that they carry so much weight with you and vice versa. That is a good and a bad thing. Okay. Good and a bad thing. But it's something that we should be aware of in the people that we love. I know that I've got a couple of folks that I'm gonna have to pull it out of them. Hey, do you have anything to say on that? How did you feel about that? I'm gonna have to circle back to this person because I know they will sit in a room and have all kinds of things to say and won't say anything until someone calls them out. Hey, does that work for you? Is that doable for you? Would you change anything? Like, you got to ask specific questions. Now, you good? Because they're gonna say, yep. Because they don't want to make no waves. You know what I mean? They just want everybody to be happy, everybody show up, and I want you to know that I love you. You know, so like that is a two-part thing. You know, we can't exempt ourselves from the very things that we see in the people around us. Like, that's often how we learn about our partners. I think 2 weeks ago, a week ago, we were talking about that. Like, I watch how you are with other folks, and those are the things I pick up and take back to the house with me. How's this working? What was that? Okay. So I guess that's a tip to kind of pay attention to how your person does with other people. Because there might be something that could be addressed for that also. When I don't know where you went, that threw me. I just see Winfred Burns down there. I don't know where you went, bro. Can you guys still see Win? My screen is frozen on my phone too. Well, I'm hoping you all can still.
I can.
There you are.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. I was scrolling. I was about to say, hey, testing, 1 2 1 2.
I know what that was. All right. You know, as you were talking, I think we also have to be honest. Like you said, you talked about how this is in other relationships, but I think you also have to think about too. Like, you're correct. It's in every relationship. So whether it's intimate relationship, friendship, parental relationship, work relationships, like Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, relationship between you and your job, like not you and your manager, but you and the company
The
you work
job.
for, the job. Like
Yep.
every relationship, you have to have that same think like that too. Which is, I hadn't taken it to that, but that's real.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yep. Y'all have had to pull some stuff out of me simply because I didn't want to make no waves.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because I care about how it sounds. Was I too much of a? Because I know when I don't care.
But I think the good part, but the good part, and this, I'm glad you mentioned that. The good part is when you are in relationship with someone, vice versa, that you care about,
Mhm.
and you see it, you, like you said, you approach it, and then you let him know it's safe for you to do that.
Mhm.
So it's safe. This is safe. You can say that, and I'm not going, I'm
Yeah.
not going to run away. It's okay,
Yeah.
or it might hurt my feelings, but I'll be,
I'm all right.
tomorrow I'll be back. Like, so I think it's developing that yeah, that's intimacy, where I recognize that even if you have something to say to me that I'm not gonna like, or that you express a need that maybe might be uncomfortable, that we can do what's needs to be done and have the discussion that needs to be, because there's a level of care. Excuse me.
Yep. Yep.
That's not. I'm just not going to ignore that. Like, you can't
Mhm.
ignore that, and I think for me, the biggest thing. Like, how do you ignore that the person who you say you want relationship with or love is hurting and you do nothing? Like, it'd be one thing if you can't do something, but at least if you can't do something, you can at least be present.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't.
Mhm.
So I can't just be
Yeah.
like,
The
oh,
disregard. It's the disregard for me. The
yeah,
just flat out.
exactly.
I just. Yeah.
That doesn't
Yeah.
work. That's just not
Mhm.
how. Again, that would put me back in the place of questioning, like, is this a relationship?
Mhm. And
Or
us being the ones on the side of needing the thing, we have to also hold those that we are sharing that space with accountable for that. That is our job. That is our responsibility to swallow the pride, the fear, the whatever that we have. It's because just like we told them, you signed up for this. You signed up to be my helper. You signed up to be my lover. You signed up to be my whatever. Then you too also signed up for the opposite side of that relationship,
right,
not just the recipient of.
right,
You also have to be the expresser of
yes,
what you need,
absolutely,
because this person's not a mind reader. They didn't sign
absolutely,
up for that.
absolutely,
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
absolutely. That's good.
Which is why I had to come up with, I had to learn how to say, okay, I can't take it. I need you to say this thing, or I need to say this thing. And I need you to know that I mean it in love.
Right,
And I might not say it the right way because me, but I'm going to try and say this because it's important for our relationship for me to be able to say that and trust that there's enough love on the other side of that, that they're going to receive that for what it is, honor it, appreciate it, and then give me what I need in return, even if that's just thoughtful, honest, clear conversation and or debate or whatever that may be. So it's not easy. It didn't always work every time. It still doesn't work always every time.
no, but you show up the
But I
best that you can in
every
that
time.
moment,
Mhm.
and then, like you said, and I think again, and when you don't do it right.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday I
I'm
was
gonna come back and I'm gonna do my damnedest to fix it.
Yesterday
Yep.
I was off. I didn't say that right. Like that took, again, I whole lot more, again, a whole lot more grace, a whole lot more when it's like, I know they're trying. Like, when you know the person is trying for you, you give people a whole lot. You know what?
Yep.
Okay, they
You
trying.
give me some
Like, you give
grace.
them a whole lot
I
more
can,
grace
yeah.
when you
Yeah.
know, like, they really are trying. That just was terrible. But they tried. You
No.
like, okay. So,
Oh, Tinka.
you like, well, that was bad, but you know what? They tried.
That's where A for effort came from. You get an A for effort. Like,
Two
because
stars.
the execution was trash, but you get an A for effort.
Hey, 2 stars for the birthday boy.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Whew, good conversation. Really good conversation.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Y'all see why we were excited about this one?
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
was good.
Absolutely. What are your final
Too good.
thoughts? Anything going on we need to know about that you haven't already told us?
Not really. I just still need you guys to go onto the website and get you some goodies. There are still quite a few items that are on sale. Not as deep as prior, but there are still some items that are on sale. Yeah. Visit elegancebydesign.com or slide on over to the Back to My Roots Marketplace here in Del City. See my girl Keitha. And yeah, it's Back to My Roots Weekend. Y'all, if y'all not following me, listen. Listen. These next couple of days. I don't know how many times my profile pic is going to change. I don't know where these videos and all this stuff is getting ready to come from, but come Sunday, okay, you're going to want to be following the girl, okay, because there will be videos, there's going to be behind the scenes, it's going to be silliness, it's going down, okay. Back to My Roots fashion show, Sunday. Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
Amen.
So excited. Keitha kills it every year.
Absolutely.
She allows us to be a part of it. So
absolutely.
I'm so excited. So proud of her.
Absolutely. Yes. I am too. I don't have anything else. This is a good show. I enjoyed it. I'll say this, the depth of our conversations. I think that sometimes it's very difficult for people to realize, their blind spots or to realize where they need to grow. And so I appreciate our conversations, and I hope that you got something from it too. So
yes,
that's
going
right.
down.
Yeah. And see, I'll make sure y'all are here Thursday. Again, make sure you join us Thursday on the Scoop on Clubhouse. We're gonna have a good conversation. Y'all make sure y'all there. It's gonna be real good.
Shout out to the comment section tonight.
Yeah. Y'all were throwing it down. Thank you to all of our first time listeners or people who ain't been here in a while. We appreciate you all. It's good. So we will see y'all next Tuesday. It might look a little different next Tuesday. So but we'll see y'all next Tuesday. We got some stuff coming. So y'all have a good week. If you haven't hit the share button, hit the share button. Let somebody know that they need to listen to the Scoop, watch the Scoop, because we got a lot going on. We got a lot of great conversation. So y'all have a good night. Q, as always, I appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to watching the videos this weekend. I'm looking forward
You
to
already know.
Yeah. So, all right, y'all. Y'all have a good night. We'll be back next week. See y'all later.